So the first way to do ongoing campaign management is this topic of negative keywords that I've already mentioned, but I want to show you how I'm going to do it in practice. This is just such a good example, I couldn't resist. So first thing I'm going to do is download the entire list of search terms for the period I'm looking at, and I'm going to immediately open it up in Google Sheets. It's going to give me a whole lot of data. So what I'm going to want to do is just begin to manage this data, make a little bit more sense. I'm going to put a filter on. Might just go ahead and begin to insert something on the left here. What I'm trying to do is tease out all the words that I don't want. Now in this case, specifically the competitors' terms are what I don't want. So all these other names, because they would fall, as you know, from the keyword categories we have generic, competitor, and brand. These actually would fall into a competitor strategy, but I'm trying to follow a pure generic strategy. So how can I isolate all this stuff and get rid of them basically? Nicholas, Anderson, Morris Blackburn, Testart, Umbrella. So these are all other names that I want to get rid of. VM, Coot, Trapsky. Let's go with that as a place to start. So I've gone ahead and isolated just those brand names that I want to eliminate. And what I'm going to do is go into my negative keywords, and I want to create what's called a negative keywords list. So I'm going to paste them all in here that I just took from that spreadsheet. And I'm going to go save to new or existing list, and I'm going to go call it competitor terms. And it's as simple as this. So I'm going to add it to the whole campaign. And so what we have is, I've isolated little things directly along, the past few days or so since I've taken on this account. But then I'm also going to isolate the competitor terms specifically. Okay. And so what this means is that I click in here, and I can, for the rest of the time I'm managing this account, constantly go in and simply add to this and add to this and add to this without having to do it individually per word, which gets a bit messy. So what this means is, I can look through my search terms. Let's say I find one that I hadn't seen before, which is probably going to happen. So Deborah Cherry, family law David Schetzer. I can add that as a negative keyword. Sorry, Deborah. And I'm going to add those to the list of competitor terms. You see what I mean? So then I can actually use that list throughout the account. I can create more campaigns and use that same list. So it's been over a week now since I implemented that negative keywords list, and I'm really keen to show you what's happened in the account and what the next step is with optimizing. So you'll notice that I made notes along the way. So I went into add groups, and I would simply go to a day and click add note, and then I can basically enter exactly what I did on that day. Now, I did enter that on this particular day here, 28th of May, which is when I made those changes from the last video. And then you'll notice that a couple of days later, I've made another note. Now, the first note that I made here was the fact that I added a negative keywords list based on those search terms. So for the competitors' names that I'd found among the search terms. The second one here is when I implemented a maximum CPC of $6. So I really decreased the amount that we were willing to pay per click, because I wanted to make sure that they were more relevant. So I've just made a note to myself there. You can notice that the CPC as well was much higher. It was sort of around $10, $11, $14. And I've dwindled it down now where it's absolutely flatlining, the red line here at $6. So that's something we're going to look at in a second. But what's interesting to note is that in doing that, so we've eliminated a bunch of keywords that could cause our ad to appear, all those competitors' names. And we've also implemented comparatively, we've halved the maximum CPC. So we're not actually spending much at the moment. We're a lot less competitive than we were, but the plan is this: become more relevant, make sure that I'm increasing the amount of relevant clicks that we're getting, and making sure that we're really only paying for super relevant good clicks. And then I'm going to ramp up that CPC and boost our spend and make sure that we're really competitive just on those words, right? Step one, get more relevant. Step two, scale. So what I'm going to do now is look at the search terms list for the period since I've made those changes. And what I'm going to be doing is basically adding to the negative keywords list that we already built last time, just in case any have still managed to get through. It will be good to really consolidate that list a little bit further. So let's go through the list here. What don't we want? Family law Melbourne. Divorce lawyer specializing in narcissism. It's kind of funny. Family law firm Melbourne, best family. These are all looking pretty good. Now notice the complete difference between this and the one from last week. But there will still be a few bad ones that are coming through. So straight away, Beswick Fulks Family Law, only one click to be fair. CE Family Law. So ultimately, I'm happy with, really happy with the search terms. You guys can agree that they're super relevant now. Best family lawyers, Geelong family lawyers, divorce solicitors, family law, compared to a lot of sort of irrelevant traffic that we were getting before I took over management of this account. So now I'm going to add these as negative keywords. And I'm essentially just going to take in phrase match all of these. So what I've done, guys, is I've added a bunch of those negative keywords simply to the entire campaign here. As you can see, they've all started to stack up. And then I've got my competitor terms list that we made last week, and I've just added some specific ones to that. And you can see they're going straight in. And so I'm making our campaign more and more relevant. It's becoming better and better. So that's really the goal here. And of course, I'm going to do exactly the same to the other ad group here, Wills and Estates. We're going through, bang, 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 looking for all the ones we don't really want. So you'll notice how I'm adding these negative keywords when it comes to this particular ad group is simply doing the phrase match again, and I'm saying anything including these because I've noticed a few trends. For example, cost of. By making it like this and taking phrase match cost of as opposed to what it was, cost of making a will in Victoria, I'm ensuring that I'm eliminating all searches containing cost of, which is much more effective for me than just eliminating one search, cost of a will in Victoria. So now that I've added all of these negative keywords, I'm really starting to be happy with the search terms that we're seeing here. But you'll notice that the traffic is dropping off, and that's because I've reduced the amount we're willing to spend, and we've also got simply less impressions because a lot of the sort of the crap that we don't need isn't causing our ad to appear anymore. So what we're going to do now is become more competitive. I want to increase our level of competitivity on each of these. So I'm simply going to go into settings, move my own head, come into maximize clicks, and I'm going to up this at this point in time to $9.50, and then I'm going to check back in later and I'll continue to increase that and get more and more competitive.